In a country where political calm has long been the norm, a storm is now breaking after months of deadlock. Germany has chosen a new direction, and it's not what anyone expected. A conservative chancellor, a fractured left, and a coalition once thought impossible. Now reality. And at the heart of it all, a former punk rocker turned finances are tasked with saving Europe's largest economy. This is not just a government change. This is a seismic shift in Europe's power balance. Germany's new era begins now in a country known for its political stability. Germany is embarking on a new chapter after months of uncertainty following February's snap election. A new coalition government is taking shape that will see conservative Friedrich Merz become chancellor, ending the tumultuous tenure of Social Democrat Olaf Scholz. The Social Democratic Party, or SPD, has just cleared the final hurdle to forming this unexpected new coalition. In a decisive internal vote, 84.6% of participating SPD members approved joining forces with their traditional rivals, the conservative Christian Democratic Union, and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union. This remarkable political realignment comes after the SPD suffered its worst election result since World War II, finishing third with just 16.4% of the vote. The Conservatives, while winning with 28.5%, still needed SPD support to form a government without including the far-right Alternative for Germany, which shocked many by coming second in these very difficult times in global politics. We bear responsibility for our security, for economic growth, secure jobs, and equal opportunities, said SPD Secretary General Matthias Misch, explaining the party's decision to enter this unlikely coalition. The membership vote saw unusually high engagement, with about 56% of the SPD's 358,000 members participating, far exceeding the required 20% minimum turnout and signaling strong grassroots support despite some internal opposition. It's the right decision for our country. I'm pleased with the vote of the SPD members. The broad approval of our coalition agreement shows that the political center is capable of taking action and assuming responsibility. This clears the way for a strong government that will finally solve our country's problems. This new coalition agreement will be formally signed on May 5th, with Merz set to be officially elected as Germany's 10th chancellor on May 6th, marking a significant power shift in Europe's largest economy. Behind every major political realignment are fascinating personal stories, and Germany's new coalition is no exception. Meet Lars Klingbeil, the SPD's co-leader who is now poised to become vice-chancellor. And perhaps more importantly, Germany's new finance minister. In close consultation and at the suggestion of Saskia Esken and myself, the SPD Executive Committee today tasked Lars Klingbeil to take on the role of vice-chancellor and to enter the new government as Federal Minister of Finance at just 47 years old. Klingbeil represents a new generation of German leadership. Standing an impressive 1.96 meters tall, the towering politician has built a reputation as a skilled mediator rather than a bombastic power player. Political scientists describe him as a bridge builder whose calm demeanor masks his sharp political instincts. Within Hoyt, you are looking at a very satisfied Secretary General of the SPD. The membership vote has been successfully completed, and this was the SPD's first nationwide digital vote. What makes Klingbeil such an intriguing political figure isn't just his current role, but his journey far from the stereotype of a buttoned-up finance minister. Klingbeil was once a punk rocker with an eyebrow piercing who played in a band. He still plays guitar and reportedly keeps several instruments in his office. Despite lacking formal financial training, he studied political science, sociology, and history. Klingbeil will now control the purse strings of Europe's largest economy. He'll oversee hundreds of billions of euros meant to rebuild Germany's military and infrastructure. A financial bazooka approved by the outgoing parliament. Klingbeil's personal struggles have also shaped his political outlook. He recently revealed a 2014 diagnosis with oral cancer, saying the experience taught him to approach things a bit more calmly and that you look at life differently when you've had a brush with death. As Germany's new coalition prepares to take power, there's a glimmer of hope on the economic horizon. After months of stagnation, Europe's largest economy expanded by 0.2% in the first quarter of 2025, a modest but welcome sign of recovery that exceeded some analysts' expectations. This slight growth follows a 0.2% contraction in the final quarter of 2020 for helping Germany narrowly avoid a technical recession, according to the German Federal Statistics Office. The improvement can be attributed to higher household consumption and increased capital investment. However, economic experts caution that this growth isn't enough to declare victory over Germany's persistent economic challenges. The quarterly increase is still far too small to end the country's long-lasting stagnation, warned Karsten Brzeski, global head of macro at ING, in a recent analysis. Germany's economy has been struggling with a perfect storm of challenges: stronger competition from China in key sectors like automobiles, difficulties in industries, including construction and infrastructure linked to higher costs and bureaucratic hurdles that have hampered investment. Adding to these woes is the looming threat of trade tensions with the United States. President Donald Trump's tariff policies have created significant and uncertainty for export-dependent Germany, which counts America as its most important trading partner. German exports to the U.S. currently face a 10% tariff, temporarily reduced from an initially announced 20% to allow for negotiations. This precarious economic situation contributed to the German government recently revising its growth forecast downward to predict zero growth for 2025, with outgoing Economy Minister Robert Habeck specifically citing Trump's trade policies as the primary factor behind this pessimistic outlook. Yet amid these challenges, there are reasons for cautious optimism. Earlier this year, Germany modified its long-standing debt brake fiscal rule, enabling higher defense spending and creating a €500 billion fund dedicated to infrastructure and climate investments, a move widely regarded as potentially positive for economic growth. Today's GDP report paints a picture of what could have happened if it hadn't been for U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff blast, an economy that bottoms out and goes through a weak cyclical rebound, but could gain momentum with the announced fiscal stimulus on the inflation front. There's also encouraging news. Germany's consumer price index has been steadily approaching the European Central Bank's 2% target, coming in at 2.3% in March on an annual basis, down from 2.6% in February. For the incoming Merz clean, while government. These economic indicators present both challenges and opportunities as they prepare to navigate Germany and, by extension, Europe through increasingly complex global economic waters. And